perception out there, which is grounded in research, grounded in data, that, some leaders of this country, or those who are put at the helm of affairs of this country, some of them have become accomplices when you talk about corruption and grabs, getting themselves involved in things that shouldn't be. Is real. If you ask me from where I sit, it's real. It is real because sometimes getting the executive to do what is expected, you don't get it. And so I have asked and prayed that Parliament, which is probably our last hope, to institute an inquest or a probe into the activities. And the probe, that Parliament cannot go into whether it is criminal, whatever Cecilia Dapaah has been cited for is criminal or not. I'm asking Parliament to look into the conduct of these two state institutions, to, linking it to Cecilia Dapaah. First of all, you had the Special Prosecutor's Office go there to conduct investigations. According to them, they picked up A, B, C, D, S, Y, Z. Not all of it has been put into the public domain. Along the line, they told us that their mandate does not include money laundering under their act. So, EOCO, which is clothed with the power to investigate or go into money laundering matters, were handed over the docket or the file according to the Special Prosecutor's Office. Subsequently, the Special Prosecutor's Office comes out to say, hey, this is what has happened. It looks like this happened behind the scene. We need to inform Ghanaians that this is what has happened. Then EOCO, represented by Mame Yatiwa, COP, comes out to say that she's going to be handing over the file to the Office of the Special Prosecutor, because when she looked at it, there was nothing in there. Then quickly, Special Prosecutor comes out to tell Ghanaians through the media, through your medium, that the file was handed over to them long ago. You see, something that has taken place and something that is yet to take place. They are two different things. And you remember when you look at what happened in this missing Takoradi girls matter, there were contradictions once again. But at the end of the day, it looks like matters just died off. But when it comes to the matter of corruption, a lot of young people in this country, a lot of Ghanaians, not just young people, but young people mostly, because the country has a large segment of young people who can't find jobs, who are disillusioned, who are not happy, who think that those at the top seem to be stealing everything. Well, as to whether that is true or not, it is real. And so if you ask me, I will say that these things, if some of us don't begin to talk about it, you only need a trigger. You only need a trigger for those who feel, those who are not happy and think that those at the top are accomplices, including some of us who have the opportunity to ensure that the right thing is done, and maybe we are quiet. We become accomplices. So one day it's just a trigger and all of us will be finished. And so mine is that inviting Parliament or asking Parliament, praying to Parliament and asking Parliament to institute a probe into what happened between these two institutions. Let us know. If it's televised, your station, GH1 will be there, Starr FM itself will be there. We will also, if you are probably in a vehicle, you will listen. If you are at home or if your vehicle has a TV, you can still watch. So that we know. And usually, it helps us to put a lot of things to rest, because then we are all going to be a living witness. Just like the AG went to court to go and pray to the court to allow this LBG thing to be televised so that Ghanaians will see that what court is doing. I am asking the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament and Parliament to go into this so that it will put these things into rest. If you ask me, EOCO has become the headquarters of corruption. There are a lot of things that they are doing that some of us we cannot. Oh, yes. I'm telling you. No, I'm being honest with you. Listen, go and look at the mandate of EOCO. A ruling by the Supreme Court. EOCO is not supposed to go into matters that have to do with all these Sakawa boys. I mean, I don't like the Sakawa boys, but EOCO is not supposed to go and be catching private people who have indulged in one thing or the other. A Supreme Court ruling. But EOCO is still indulged in that. Have you seen any Sakawa, any person who has done Sakawa? Maybe they say they transfer some money into some account, they put a freeze on it, and have you seen one person being prosecuted in Ghana? I'm asking you. Have you seen one person? Hajia for real and all these people, they have to go to the UK to be extradited to the US. Have you seen one person? I'm sure those who involve themselves in these things and those who in one way or the other have ended up in organizations like EOCO would attest to what I'm saying. Have you tell me whether you are a senior journalist? I'm telling you, everybody knows you. Have you and Ibrahim and co? I'm asking you, have you seen one person who you heard that his money came and there was a freeze on it? All you hear is that, some money, and then quickly it is sorted.
But
also heard about.
But wait, are these issues not dealt with in the court?
Where have you heard? How do you deal with these issues in the court?
No, what I mean is this.
There has to be a complainant. What I'm trying to say is that if
an account is frozen, the one whose account is frozen triggers the process in the courts, and the court determines whether or not the account should be defrozen or not.
What I'm trying to say is that if a state institution is minded to go to court to go and freeze an account, they'll freeze the account, and when they are minded to go back and defreeze, they'll go and defreeze. They don't have to give any reason to the courts. I'm sure you know the court proceedings. You don't have to go and give any reason for you. Only go and say you think there's a suspicious money in this account, you want to freeze, and you freeze. But when you go back, you say, well, we want to defreeze, and you defreeze, simple. So what I'm trying, but these are the peripherals. What I'm trying to say is that you asked me when I said, so I'm only trying to open just a bit of it to you. Recently, you heard about, the automobile companies and FBI getting involved with EOCO. Go and look at the EOCO Act. There are questions that I have. For some time, I've been trying to do a bit of, reviews about some of these performances among state institutions. Whether you have the mandate. The Supreme Court ruling says that you should only deal with issues to do with public money, not private. Public money. Public money. Public money, which is their mandate. And is the reason why the special prosecutor handed because then the suspicion was that it seemed to be an element of money laundering. Money laundering, money laundering, the evidence is the reverse. The person who is alleging would allege. But whoever is accused must come with sufficient evidence to say that it belongs to me. If not, then there's trouble. I'm not saying Cecilia Dapaah is wrong or she's right. No, I'm not going into that. That is not for me to call. But what I'm trying to say is that the role, going back to where we started from, the role special prosecutor played and the role EOCO played and where we are at the moment, nobody knows what has happened. It is special prosecutor talking and then EOCO coming to talk and then special prosecutor quickly coming to say, hey, no, you brought us the file long ago. Don't tell us you're not bringing us the file. And we didn't hear from EOCO again. If this does not amount to being complicit in whatever has taken place, then what is it? I can't tell you, Francis, that I have a letter for you. I've delivered the letter to you. Then later when I'm asked, I say, I'm now coming to deliver the letter to you. Having delivered the letter to you and coming to deliver the letter to you are two different things altogether. So mine is that there is something that, those are, I'll say, Mamiya knows I know. And so what I'm trying to say is that it is too early days here. I'm asking Parliament, because at the moment, and when you heard me in that audio, I did say that these two institutions, both of them are under the executive. Our laws. Special Prosecutor's Office is established under the Attorney General, which is under the executive, part of the executive. The EOCO is part of the executive. And so mine is that if we don't seem to be getting answers emanating from the quarters of the executive when it comes to some of these things, I think that our last hope would be Parliament. If we cannot actually get Parliament to do this, then where do we go? Maybe hit the streets. If we can't get Parliament to do this, then it's okay. Whatever anybody wants to do in this country, you should do it. Because mine is that it shouldn't be, business as usual, where state organizations do what they want to do, and they are not minded about what is going on. Today, the dollar to CD is about 15 Ghana. We are not minded, and all we are doing is to cover up. And we are just covering up and covering up. I mean, you cover up, it will germinate. And so mine is that, Francis, the core is very simple. The core is very simple. But to you, the media, I will send you the ruling per the Supreme Court and the limits the Supreme Court, a ruling of the Supreme Court that limits what EOCO is supposed to be doing. So that when those who are listening to you, when these things come to your attention, you can always refer to that ruling and say, EOCO has a limited power. But at the moment, they've arrogated to themselves wide powers like police. And that is where I worry. And the Supreme Court, if you read the ruling, it's so interesting. I'll send it to you. It went from the High Court appeals and I think to the Supreme Court. And mine is that we need to operate within the framework of the law. If we cannot operate within the framework of the law, then Ghana is doomed. So let's have Parliament institute a probe. And for me, if you ask me, I'll tell you, Mamia is not fit for purpose at EOCO. She's not. She's not fit for purpose at EOCO. Because, for years, some of us had our own perception about EOCO. And so it's an institution that I always said has been put there to loot. I thought taking her there was a good thing, but I noticed that no. She's become, the whole organization is continuing to do what they have to do. And that is where I worry. I worry because if the anti-graft organizations are themselves becoming accomplices in some of these things, then where then lies our hope.
But for Parliament,
a lot of the young people.
Okay, but for the Parliament probe that you talk about, what will be the remit to their inquest in this matter? And I ask this because the matter relating to Cecilia Dapaah is of a corruption and corruption-related perspective, money laundering and structuring. If between the OSP and EOCO, this matter has not been resolved or dealt with properly, what could Parliament possibly do?
Parliament would have to go into it and see. The special prosecutor and the special prosecutor's office has come out to say our powers given to us, we can only do up to a level. We can't do much because in passing the law that set up the special prosecutor's office, some elements that were supposed to give us power were taken out. That way, it means that when we are doing our work, we cannot do a comprehensive work. We have to eventually send part whatever we are doing. If we get to a point and we hit there's a gridlock, we send it over to another organization. And I'm not asking Parliament to go into the corruption-related matters and whatever fishy things that anybody thinks happen. No. I am asking Parliament to go into the conduct of these two institutions and really look at how their law as established, that establishes them, failed. Okay, how their law as established. Is it the law that established them that failed? Or it was the individuals who pretend over these organizations who failed, Francis. So it's not about going into the criminal or not or otherwise or the Cecilia Dapaah case. No. It is about looking at these two establishments. Because like I'm saying, special prosecutor is the whistleblower. Special prosecutor came out to tell us, we have released the money. The money has been released. The money is gone. That is not even my issue. The money is gone. Then eventually, EOCO comes to say, oh yes, we are going to be sending them the file because when we went into it, there was nothing. Then special prosecutor comes out with a rebuttal. Oh, that you know what? You brought us the file long ago, so stop deceiving Ghanaians. You are lying. EOCO has not come back again to tell us that, we are, the file is with us, or we sent it to them. EOCO is quiet, and that's it. And Ghanaians, we are watching. So it is not about investigating what happened, it's about going into the conduct of these two organizations. It's not about going into the substance, whether there was corruption. That one, Parliament can't go into it. I know the role Parliament can't go into those things. Those you leave it for, the security agencies to do it. But in terms of administrative malfunction, administrative negligence, and what that one, Parliament can go into it. This is of public interest. This is of public interest. In terms of public sector organizations not doing what is required of them in this manner, Parliament should be interested in it. It is not just a criminal, because even if you attempt to prosecute Cecilia Dapaah, or another government comes, attempts to investigate Cecilia Dapaah, what about those who probably played one role or the other, negligently or intentionally allowing what happened to happen? What about that? Do we just let them go? Like I said, the missing Takrady girls issue. At one point, we were told they were coming. At another point, we are told they are dead. And then we found bones. So we ended up prosecuting the people who committed the crime. You have prosecuted the people who committed the crime. But what about those who lost their lives? Could we, in a manner of agency, have rescued these girls if maybe we were not negligent? I mean, we caught some of the guys and accordingly prosecuted. But what role did back then, the national security and the CID boss herself, today Mami Atiwa, played in, leading us to where this thing happened? I mean, I spoke about it because I have a lot of information about it. But mine is that if we don't begin to interrogate some of these things publicly, we allow them and so just leave it, sweep it under the carpet. Francis, one day it could be you. And you see, mine is that, like I said, the special prosecutor is not a friend. I say he's been put there, he has a lot of work to do. We haven't seen much. And so some of us feel, well, there are a lot of things going on that we could have acted. He has complained that, you know what, the setup that I have looks compromised because you people think I have so much wide-ranging powers. But you come and read the law and you understand that when you go to court, the interpretation is different. And so we need to interrogate them. And I'm sure that if we get to that point, there will be clear-cut recommendations. If those recommendations are not even implemented in this particular administration, in Nanado's administration, whoever wins the next election, that recommendation probably could be passed on to whoever wins the next election, so that we'll see whether we need to tweak EOCO Act, we need to tweak Special Prosecutor Act. But if the recommendation also says that some people were accomplices, some people played roles that looks intentional and therefore must be sanctioned, the recommendation would actually let us know so that we all become a party to it. Because at the end of the day, it is me and you. We are all Ghanaians. We all pay taxes here and there. If we don't even pay, they come chasing you. So for me, it is based on that I am calling that the Speaker and by extension, Parliament should go into it. It's not about investigating whether there's corruption by Cecilia Dapaah. No. I'm not saying that is not my that's what I am. I'm not going into that. But what role did these institutions play? We need to know. We need to know what role they play. And I will send you the Supreme Court ruling that has placed limits on what EOCO can do. So that when some of these things come to your attention, because sometimes when you hear organized crime, then we think they have wide range of powers. And the Supreme Court has placed a limit on what they can do. That is not what we are discussing. I'll send it to you. And it's the reason why I think, and a lot of these things have come to my attention. People call me, they say, you see, this happened, that happened. And when you go into their act, what they are doing is not part of their act.
Okay.
Then I asked you, show me one Sakawa boy, who you heard that his money was frozen. And eventually, he was sent to court and was sent to jail. So show me one. You would hear them, they will run around. And before you see, they say, oh, there was some sharing of some money, and they take their share, and they are gone. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you know about what I'm saying. You know it better. And your listeners I'm sure, are also aware of what is happening, because then some of our state institutions have found a way. They found a way to compromise the whole system. And so when these boys go on the internet and do their things and it comes, state institutions will flag the money. When they flag the money, end of the day, the flagging is just to return the money to whoever took the money. The flagging is just to allow some sharing to take place, which I think that why should we do that? If you are not going to return the money and the money will not be given to government, then give it to the persons who did that thing then. Give it to them in whole. Give it to them in whole. If you are not going to return it to whoever they scammed out there in the US, Canada, UK, wherever, Australia, and you will not also confiscate that money and put it into the Ghanaian government coffers, then don't share with these people who do these scams. Give it to the people who give it to them in whole. But we should, and that is where some of us worry and we think that, and I'm sure your listeners, I mean, will tell you that they would have heard it, or some of them would have been victims, which I think, at least some of these things have come to my attention. So I'm not talking in a vacuum. It has come to my attention. I'm telling you.
All right. Dr. Bonaa, thank you for your time and for joining us this morning. We're grateful.
Thank you.
That's Dr. Adam Bonaa. He's a security analyst joining us this morning there with his thoughts. Time check is some 10 minutes to 9. You're listening to Morning Stars. I said 2 more points to look at this morning for our Star-focused conversations in the arena of politics and the limited voter registration exercise that's ongoing. We do know that for the NDC, Collins Dowda has been arrested by the Ghana Police Service. In relation to some voter registration chaos, the party has had cause to respond to this matter in a statement. We will engage the National Communications Officer, Sami Jemfi, in a minute. And then also we'll look to the MPP and why the Director of Communications, Richard Ahiagba, has had a challenge in being able to register, even though he voted in 2020. Questions have been asked. We'll try and get a sense of what's going on in that corner as well and bring to your attention. But your views and comments are welcome. WhatsApp line is 0552 880 216. 0552 880 216. That's how you get in touch with us. Morning Stars live here in Accra on Star 103.5 FM. Also live on Ultimate FM in Kumasi. Live on Empire 102.7 FM in Sekondi Takrade. Ebusia for morning. Olokodo, Obugudala, Wakodo. Your thoughts and comments are welcome.